Hello, everybody. Welcome to part 4 of Diva like Edwina's overview of ADD and ADHD. This is my in the Diva segment. And as I said in part 1, I have no idea how long this is going to go on. It's just like this is, I don't know. But I did say in a prior video that there was going to be a huge discussion going on about this. All right. So we talked about causes of what causes ADD, what doesn't cause ADD and ADHD, and the medications that are available. Um, you know what? I forgot to mention the symptoms of it, so that's what I'm going to discuss next. I'm going to talk about what the common symptoms are, and I'm just going to go ahead and read the list here from the 10 Simple Solutions to Adult ADD. And I got some more books back here. So like I said, this is a big old discussion. So um, you might want to watch this overview over time, maybe, once or twice a week or whatever until you complete the series. Okay. All right. So let's talk about some of the symptoms. Uh, Symptoms include having mood swings, abusing substances, putting too many activities on your schedule, making a lot of to-do lists and never using them, getting lots of speeding tickets, having feelings of not living up to your potential, chronically procrastinating, impulsively taking risks, having difficulties finishing projects, frequently losing items, having a quick temper, having problems with organization, having a series of marriages, impulsively quitting jobs, changing jobs frequently, lacking friends, having difficulties managing money, having low self-esteem, being underemployed, meaning working below your ability, disliking traffic so much that you will drive out of your way to avoid it, interrupting people. And it says many adults with ADD were diagnosed with childhood ADD, but that is not always the case. And in my case, it wasn't. I did not get my diagnosis until last year at almost, in my late 40s, getting a diagnosis. So I had a lifetime of something, quite a bit of this stuff. Some of the stuff didn't apply to me, but uh, unfortunately, a lot of it did. Oh, yeah. Okay, so it said it also brings out this book, Simple Solutions to Adult ADD. Men, it might surprise you that to learn that ADD is not all negative. Okay. There are also positive aspects to having ADD, and it is likely that you have these traits as well. People with ADD can have creativity, an ability to multitask effectively, a good sense of humor, versatility, the ability to let go of grudges, a talent for thinking outside the box, a drive to focus on something they are interested in. Uh, and then it says ADD can look different in different individuals. So it's, like I said, some of the symptoms I didn't have for instance, I did not have an issue with abusing alcohol or drugs or anything like that. I never liked the idea of not totally being in. I was already a scatterbox and all over the place. So I didn't like the idea of furthering that scatterbox, not having any control and all, all loopy and everything with, excessive drinking and drugging. So I was able to uh, avoid that part of it. So that was something that I didn't do. And another thing is getting lots of speeding tickets. Um, First of all, I don't want to run the risk of becoming blood guilty by speeding and possibly causing an accident. And that is something, and that's my Bible trained conscience talking here when I say blood guilty, causing harm or death uh, by being reckless like that. So that would that speeding ticket, now I am sometimes get a little bit of heavy foot on stuff when I'm in a hurry, but I try to slow myself down. But as far as getting pulled over excessively for speeding and all of that kind of stuff, I strive to avoid that because again, I do not want to put myself in a situation where I inadvertently hurt, maim, or kill another person. So that was something I didn't have to really deal with. Um, and like I said, unfortunately, most of the stuff on the list applied to me. It was just, sort of like you just cross out ADD and put Edwina in there, and then that was pretty much me. So checking my time, and then the quote unquote positive thing about ADD, and I have to say that with the exception of multitasking, the rest of it pretty much describes me. I'm not the best multitasker in the world. I tend to get overwhelmed, and when I get overwhelmed, I shut down. So multitasking. Uh, I have a saying about that anyway. Multitasking, to me, this is my definition of multitasking. Multitasking is doing several things at the same time badly. That's my definition of multitasking. So, excuse the itch. So whenever I can, I try to handle things uh, one at a time or maybe two at a time, but not 20 things at once at a time. It turns into a thing for me, and I try to avoid that when possible. Um, and then again, getting back to the book, it says that ADD can look different in different individuals. For instance, uh, one person with ADD may be drinking or drugging to to drown out those symptoms that they have. They're self-medicating. Um, Whereas with another person with ADHD, they may have a huge problem with interrupting, or just a huge problem with using tact with others. And I have to admit, uh, there are times when I have not been as tactful as I should have been. Blurted some stuff out, and even when I remember when I was a kid, a lot of times my mother had to reprimand me because of my big mouth. So you might see somebody like that. You might see somebody uh, uh, like I said, it's what is it? A person with ADD may not be okay in certain situations. So one person with ADHD might do well, and you know, let's say in school they do all right, they're pretty good, and then you have another person that isn't doing so well. So it appears differently in different people, and so that's another reason why it's kind of hard to recognize. Um, and it says that with ADD, ADHD, we live with these symptoms all the time. It's not, sometimes I had a slip of the tongue and hurt somebody. So it's, all the time with something, and we're constantly living with it. It's chronic. with us. And we try our best to do our best, and sometimes it just does not come all together. And then this following list talks about clues that the ADD, ADHD is negatively impacting your life. And it says here that you've been fired from a job due to your inability to concentrate or stay organized. You have been reprimanded at work for not completing assignments. Your significant other has insisted that you get help. You have problems maintaining long-term friendships. You have been reprimanded at work for losing your temper. You have difficulty getting along with your family or roommates. You have a substance abuse problem. You have legal difficulties such as arrest or multiple speeding tickets. Your underachieving has led to low self-esteem or depression. You are losing time and money due to your inability to stay organized. You bounce checks. You are in trouble with the IRS for not paying your taxes on time. You get late fees on your bills because you forgot to pay them on time. You have had to file for bankruptcy due to poor money management. You are feeling that there is no point to your life, and you are feeling hopeless. So those are indications that the ADD, ADHD is getting out of control. And unfortunately, I could put a check mark by quite a few of these statements here. And that was what finally prompted me to get some help. I have 2 minutes left here. And I'm going to stop the video here. The reason being is that when I come back, I'm going to talk briefly about what led up to me going and finally finding out for sure what was going on with me. And then we're going to move on to the next book. Now, I'm not going to go through each book in detail like I did with this one, but I just wanted to point out some things here, and then go over that. And then at the end, I'm going to come back to this book because I want to talk about dealing with clutter and all of that too. I'm sorry, I kind of got jumbled around, but the person that you are watching giving this overview is a sufferer of ADHD. All right, so y'all figure it out. Okay, so I'm sorry, but hey, I'm being honest. Okay, all right. So I will be back in just a moment with part 5. Oh my goodness, this is getting longer and longer.